We are starting Instagram Live in my kitchen this week. And I'm just gonna wait just a couple minutes, letting people know that I've started the class. I decided to change things up instead of, just kind of giving you all sorts of stats and facts about health and wellness. I figured I'm just gonna show you some cool things that we do for our family when it comes to cooking healthy, staying healthy, and the biggest thing, we have to make it easy. So, all right, just waiting for a couple more people to join. Real life, that's my husband Eric. My dogs are under my feet, so you're just getting me real, right, tonight? So I'm just gonna go ahead and start, because I know sometimes people wanna hop on, hop off, and this is being recorded, so we don't wanna waste your time anymore with my introductions. So I'm gonna first start off by letting you know the Instant Pot is probably one of the best tools that you can have in your kitchen when it comes to wanting to get healthy and well and do things on a budget. And to be quite honest, for me, it saves me so much time. All right. I'm just gonna do this. All right. Okay. So, when it comes to the Instant Pot, some people don't even know what it looks like. It's called Instant Pot, it's called a pressure cooker, and the point of it is it's this device that is pressurized and cooks things really fast and really hot and under pressure. And there's these fun little valves that you can use. There's an insert that your food goes into, and I'm gonna show you how that works, okay? And then there's all sorts of fun buttons. But the best thing about this is it has completely revolutionized my life for my family, that we are able to cook without even watching our food. I can put food in, go take care of the other million things I have to do, and then I come back and it's all cooked for me. And then I've saved dishes, I've saved time watching over the stove. It's been awesome, okay? So tonight I'm showing you some of the main things that we use in the Instant Pot, and I'm gonna get just started so that things can cook, so that we can kind of show you a little bit of demonstration, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this one out actually, because it has something in here I'm gonna show you later. I want to show you how we make quinoa. That's one of the fastest, easiest things that we started making with our Instant Pot, was like rice and quinoa and oats and then meats. I'm going to show you the easiest way to make quinoa perfect in 12 minutes, okay? I invested in 2 stainless steel pots because most Instant Pots or pressure cookers come with kind of the Teflon coated, easy to scratch insert. And in health and wellness, that's one of the biggest no-nos when it comes to cookware. You don't want to be cooking on Teflon. You want to be cooking on anything that can scratch off as you're using it over time, because what ends up happening is it gets into your system and it's very toxic. So right away, yes, when I got this, it did not come with the insert, so I just went right onto Amazon, and I can show you, I took a screenshot of it. You just purchase these on Instant Pot. Just make sure you know how many quarts your Instant Pot is, because there's different sizes, right? And they average about $30, so that's not bad at all. Okay, so I'm putting this in, and this is the easiest thing that we do. My son makes this all the time. This is when we do meal prep. We are making quinoa probably 3 to 4 times a week, because it's such a healthy alternative to like lots of white rice and lots of wheat and grains. And so in our family, we believe in not doing a ton of grains. We do more whole foods. We definitely do a lot of quinoa. Okay, so this one, I love buying this at Aldi because it's already just perfect size ratio for me and my family. So I buy these two together at Aldi. Very cheap, both organic, non-GMO, very cost effective. And all you do, I'm making your life easy. Dump the whole bag in. And that's about 16 ounces. So in case, let's just say you had a bigger bag or 1 pound, and I don't know how many cups. So it looks like probably 4 cups worth, okay, that I just dumped in there. And then here's the other easy part. I like to buy organic broth, usually at Costco, but I also like it at Aldi because it's just convenient. And guess what you do? You just dump it right in, okay? So when my kids are hungry, they just go ahead and do this on their own. I just taught them how to do this. It's obviously no-brainer, just dumping 2 things in. Heck, you don't even have to stir it if you don't want to. But it's just basically the same, when it comes to grains, it's a 1 to 2 ratio. 2 with liquid, 1 of the grain. But somehow, we just made it easy by putting it all in, okay? So I don't know how much I can show you, but it just looks not fancy. It doesn't have to be. So then, what do? Put your cover on. Okay. It's always the fun, tricky part. Makes noises, beeps. And you gotta make sure you shut the valve. I've done that in the very beginning where I didn't shut the valve, and you're just like, why is it taking forever? It's making lots of noise. You didn't shut the valve, okay? So shut that. And then on most Instant Pots, there is a rice button. Watch. This is the magic. Okay. 12 minutes, okay? So I'm gonna push this to the side. You're gonna see it's like perfect quinoa made. I didn't even have to do anything else, right? So moving this over. Out of sight. Happy May the 4th, by the way. Star Wars. We're big Star Wars geek fans in our family, so my husband's very proud. He's like, hey, Star Wars. I'm like, yep, May the 4th. So while that's cooking, I'm gonna show you what we do with quinoa. Literally, we're always having it in our fridge, and the biggest thing that the kids probably do is when they're having like a meat or a salad, they will throw in a bunch of quinoa because it's a really good carb, it's complex, and a really good protein source. Also really good in antioxidants, gluten-free, very satisfying to eat, and it's not going to spike the blood sugar like a white rice would or like other like pastas, okay? So it's been a really good alternative for our family, quinoa. And it's a seed, by the way. It's a seed, not a grain. So here's what it ends up looking like when it's cooked, okay? And that is practically how much that makes when we dumped the bag and the broth together. So you can see it makes a ton, and you can see it's really fluffy. And I didn't have to do any work with watching the stove, and you know how if you make it on the stove, it boils over, makes a mess, and it's just annoying, right? And so you're like, I'm not making quinoa again ever, it's too hard. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with a fancy dish that we like to make time to time, and it is tabbouleh salad. I'm not sure if you understand what tabbouleh salad is. Many people don't, but it's a Middle Eastern dish. You'll find it pretty much like in Greece, Israel, just kind of those Middle Eastern countries. Very healthy, so delicious. And so I kind of went ahead and prepped what tabbouleh has. And it's all the stuff that you guys can start growing in your garden. Okay? So it is. I went ahead and just did it. It looks pretty, doesn't it? I'm going to show you how I make it. So it's tomatoes. You can do Roma tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. These are just general vine ripened. I'm not picky when it comes to making these things because usually it's what's in my fridge is going to work. I don't have time to be running all over for fancy food, but that's okay, right? And then an English cucumber, parsley, and then I did red onion. Sometimes they just say white onion or they say green onions. I would have done either, but I like the color, and that's what I had in my pantry, okay? So I'm gonna show you another fun tool that I use to chop up the parsley, because honestly, all this, I did not chop this up by hand. No way, I don't got time for that. So you can see in the background, I got my fun food processor, which what I would say is tool number two. Actually, probably tool number 1, and then your Instant Pot. But those two, I use practically on a daily basis because it just makes my life easy and fast. And to spend time chopping this up, no way, right? So what I'm gonna show you how it works, how fast it is. Here's some organic parsley that I bought. I really try to buy organic as much as possible. I think obviously you guys know why, and depending on where you shop, you can get organic for even cheaper sometimes than you would, let's just say, at an expensive grocery store. So where I get organic, the cheapest is Aldi and Costco. And then just sometimes I'll see it at different grocery stores, but I know I'm always gonna have good selection. And sometimes when I don't have what I need, I have to go to Whole Foods. So like today with the parsley, I went to Whole Foods to get this. I want organic because I don't want the toxins in my food. I want the food clearing out the toxins, and parsley does that, okay? Also a great digestive aid. So when you're eating this tabbouleh salad, it actually should feel very nourishing and it shouldn't upset your stomach because it's a good protein, good carb, easily digested, gluten-free, like I said, and then parsley, really good for digestion, okay? So here's the fun part. Making some, actually I'm gonna move this. There's all sorts of different food processors out there. If you can, I always suggest to get the larger, and I know there's even larger than this. It's just if you're making food in large quantities, meal prep, it's so nice to just have a larger food processor. I really loved the Cuisine Art. I know there's other amazing brands out there, but the point is they all work, okay? They're just making your life easy with chopping things up. And I make everything in this. Like I make guacamole, I make nut butters, salsa. Okay, and so I'm just gonna show you chopping up parsley. This would take me forever to do by hand. So throwing it in, nothing fancy. And we're gonna pulse it. Okay, easy. And I like my parsley pretty finely chopped because you don't want just a big chunk of parsley in your bite of tabbouleh. So it looks pretty like that. And then we're going to dump it into the tabbouleh. Okay, so here's this. And then what we'll do is just eat this all week. What goes really well with a tabbouleh salad is kebabs or just like a grilled meat, because you have a wonderful salad to accompany a nice protein. Okay, so now I just want to make sure. Okay. So I'm gonna dump my quinoa in here. I'm not gonna use all of it, okay? Obviously my container is only so big. And traditional tabbouleh is very heavy in the parsley. I didn't use mint, but you can use mint. And I'm just gonna kind of stir it around and you're gonna see it come to life. It's really colorful. So you can grow tomatoes in your garden, you can grow cucumbers, you can grow parsley, you can grow some onions, yeah. definitely grow mint. Okay, so if you're thinking about gardening planning, definitely want to have these in mind, because sometimes you just get overwhelmed or tired of what to make with all your garden vegetables. All right, so it's coming together, and then how you season it is a very traditional way of how they make a lot of Middle Eastern foods is lemon and olive oil, and then sea salt or pepper, right? It's not super fancy, but highly nourishing. Lemon is also excellent for digestion. A lot of people put lemon in their water to help them to digest their food before they're eating it. And then olive oil, you know, it's a wonderful, good fat. I don't, well, actually, I do have olive oil, but I'm actually going to use avocado oil tonight. Okay, so I kind of got that mixed together, and I get my avocado oil at Costco, or this one was Trader Joe's. I'm going to use about a 1/3 cup because you can see it's a lot. So this is just to coat it and give it depth of flavor. Okay. And then I'm going to squeeze I could probably do this way better. I'm going to squeeze 2 lemons in this because it kind of gives it that nice acid. And honestly, I don't care if some seeds get in there. Right? Something nutritious with the seed. So I'm doing that. Probably the fancy chef's like, don't do it. I really could have a lemon squeezer, and I probably do, but I'm just making this easy, right? So I'm actually gonna start with this first lemon, and I'm gonna see if it's enough, because sometimes with acidity, you don't wanna go too much. So we'll just give it a taste, we'll stir it up, okay? And then we're gonna add sea salt. Different types of sea salt out there. I use pink Himalayan sea salt. I also use Celtic sea salt. I do not use iodine. They add iodine to table salt. I do not cook with that. It's kind of considered a toxic salt out there when it comes to sea salt and Himalayan sea salt and the Celtic sea salt. The reason that they have the colors is because they have what's called trace minerals. And trace minerals are just, you know, like selenium and manganese and molybdenum, I can't even say it right. And so you have these many little tiny elements that your body needs called trace elements. And they just kind of help your body do their job more properly and like make the cogwheels go in your cells and like biochemical reactions, right? So sea salt, usually you just can kind of season to flavor. Everybody's a little bit different with their sea salt. Good catch, right? Cat-like reflexes. All right, so I'm just gonna take a general bite. Okay, that's really good. So I'm actually gonna stop with the lemon there. I like it how it is. You could add more. That's cooking, right? You get to cook from the hip. So that's done, yay. So there's the quinoa tabbouleh salad. Often it'll be made with bulgur wheat. That's the traditional way. In our family, we just try to avoid wheat. If we're gonna have wheat, it's gonna be very special. It's gonna be organic, non-GMO, and just in moderation. That's just how we are, okay? We like to have things more gluten-free, but not high sugar, if that makes sense. That does not look pretty, okay? And then obviously the more it sits in your fridge, you will have more of the flavors come through. And It'll be better each day. Okay, so that's quinoa. It's still cooking, but I got something else I'm gonna show you the next thing that I do. Put this off to the side. Okay, just wanna say hi, everybody's okay, awesome. So, we are gonna show you the next thing that I make. So you have another one, right? I've thought about buying 3, and then I've even had friends who say that they just want to buy, like they actually have 2 Instant Pot cookers because they're always making like a lot of meals and you don't have time to wait for the pressure cooker to like cook the first round. So yeah, I might invest in one, maybe another Christmas present. But for now, the two are good. And what I made in here was chicken, okay? That's probably the number one thing that I do with my Instant Pot is meats, okay? If you're like me, busy, doing life, crazy times, and you're like, oh no, I didn't take out the meat to thaw in the fridge. Oh no, now it's gonna take forever to make dinner. I don't have to worry about that anymore because I have my Instant Pot to do the work for me and in like such a quick time, okay? So here's an example, I'll kind of show you. This I cooked from frozen, okay? And it probably took about 25 minutes, okay? So I'm gonna just show you, well, if it gets done here in a little bit. But it took about 25 minutes to cook this from frozen. What I love about Instant Pot meat, okay, I'm gonna show you how tender it gets. And so I do a lot of shredded chicken. Okay. And it even sears it a little bit. Like it even sears in the Instant Pot. So a lot of people, you can just keep it simple where you season it. Often I will add sauces to I'll add in the frozen chicken and my sauce. So like an example would be pasta sauce or verde sauce. I also do a lot of Indian sauces like the tiki masala or butter chicken. Those sauces that you can find, some really good options. And honestly, how many of us have sauces in our pantry that are just sitting there and you're like, oh, I gotta do something with them? Well, it helps us utilize those jars and just be like, oh, we're not wasting money because it's just been sitting in there. You know, you always have pasta sauce, you always have some kind of Mexican, right? And you literally just dump the 2 in together like I did with the quinoa, and it cooks down and it's amazing and awesome and easy, okay? So I didn't do that tonight because I was just simplifying, but I wanted to show you how easy this gets shredded. This is the other fun gadget. Everybody should have a kitchen. Does he see a squirrel, Mr. Cashy Cash? Okay, we're live. I got 2 dogs. Actually pretty quiet. Usually it's a squirrel or somebody walking. So this is a kitchen gadget that also saves time, is being able to cut your meat, okay? And so I literally will just come in, we'll get cut, right? Cut. The other way you could do this is with, guess what? This guy. I could just stick it in there, pulse it, and it would shred. However, usually what I'm doing is I'll still have the chicken and the sauce in there, and I kind of want to make it kind of a shredded, you know, chicken. I'll throw in other veggies or things like that. So it's almost like a sauce dish that you can pour over quinoa, or some people like white rice. And I need to sharpen these, okay? But I usually cut it while it's in here because I don't like making dishes. You can see I have to do some dishes back there. Okay, so it's shredded, and when I usually cook chicken on the oven or stovetop, it takes forever, and then it's like still tough. And Instant Pot chicken, it's like shreds so easy, and it stays moist and very tender. because you're pressurizing it and it's more heat, it breaks down those protein bonds for you to digest easier, okay? So it's another benefit for digestion. And then what I'll do, I'm not doing a good job spreading it. You get the idea. I'll add taco seasoning too sometimes, and like I said, other sauces. And we do a lot of taco nights with our Instant Pot. The other thing that and actually it's almost ready. I'm gonna just show you how I do it. That's literally frozen. The other thing that's frozen that I'll put in my Instant Pot, ground beef. Frozen. Same thing, like 25 minutes, okay? And I don't know about you, but I don't like if it's frozen and you're having to like scrape it off on the stove top and you're just like, oh, this is taking forever. I no longer have to wait. I don't sit over my stove. I just let the Instant Pot do my life of cooking, okay? So I would literally just like open this up, throw it in, push the buttons, and then I chop it up after it's cooked. And then I add my taco seasoning, I'll add any other sauces. Sometimes I'll add black beans, and there you go. It's like, oh, taco night, guys, let's go. Okay? So we're almost there. So this, because it's been sitting a while, this is not 100% frozen. And I'm gonna move, I want the raw chicken by my cooked chicken. I'm just showing you how simple it is. I get my chicken at Aldi. I get the organic chicken there. Reason being, it's not filled with saline, and so you know how chicken is when, you know, it's pumped with saline and it looks huge when it's frozen, and then you cook it down and it's like it's shrunk to nothing. Yeah, that's like a marketing ploy to like make you look like you're like feel like you're buying a lot of chicken. And you're not, okay? And not to mention, it's just a ton of salt that not many people need, right? So it's sodium filled. It's good chicken still because it tastes like salt and chicken. But we try to avoid the saline or the salt solution. It'll say like 2% solution with the chicken, the frozen chicken. Or you'll know because it looks huge, like huge chicken pieces. So I don't do that anymore because meat's expensive, and it's practically then the same price as this like perfectly good organic, no antibiotic chicken, right? Like there's no pumping anything with this, but you can see it's pretty big pieces and it stays pretty big when you cook it down, okay? So usually it's frozen and I just dump it in. No fancy stuff here. I don't got time for it. And it goes in. Usually it's more frozen than this when I put it in. And once that's done, I'm gonna put this one in. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay. So that is frozen chicken, 25 minutes. Same thing with the frozen ground beef. If you like making your life easy, and then you can see how healthy it is. And then it's super flexible because what we'll do is we will cook meat in batches, keep it in our fridge, and then when we are just busy and we need to make something, we have meat cooked, we have quinoa cooked, and then you just add your seasonings. Always have lettuce around. There it is, it's done. Okay. So, let me just shift it. And this is where, this makes the fun noise where you release the valve. Okay. Gotta release all that pressure. When you're away from it and it's done cooking, it slowly depressurizes. So let's just say I came back to this 15 minutes after it was done. Most of the pressure leaks out, and it doesn't take this long to release the pressure. So just a heads up, okay? And it usually will keep it warm. All right. And you can't open it. Get in there. Okay. Right, it's like a lock. Oh, there it is, so it's enough to open. So, I'm gonna get some gloves. You can literally see in the time it took for me to just show you a couple things that quinoa got perfectly cooked. And like I said, it's like fluffy. Okay. So if you don't learn anything but just to make quinoa with your Instant Pot, you can consider yourself a lot more advanced than you were before. Okay, so I'm gonna move this off to the side. We're showing you simple. I'm going to actually add the organic pasta sauce because we're gonna prep, we're making food ahead. Who doesn't like a nice marinara with their chicken? Watch me just dump it in. And I'm gonna do the whole thing, okay? Because I always usually add other stuff to it. This is sloppy cooking, but I'll tell you what, you're still gonna eat it and it's healthy, right? And you didn't have to do a ton of the work. So here comes, close the pressure. Now it says poultry, okay? Now I'm just going to bump it up. Some people's settings are different. So I'm just gonna put it at 25 minutes and then it just starts on its own. And you can see there's other things like soup, meat, stew, bean, chili, rice, multigrain, porridge, steam, okay? So one of the things that I do a lot is make steamed cauliflower. And how I would do that, so I'm now show you just some of the gadgets that are fun to use with your Instant Pot. They usually come with something like this. And what this does, you can put it in the Instant Pot and it creates like a space. And so then you put water underneath. And if you're cooking eggs, because you can boil eggs, and they work really well in terms of when you want to peel them. If you don't like watching your stovetop to boil water, right? It's just, I don't have to boil water anymore. It's really nice. So you would just put this in, and then you would just put however many eggs you needed with water because it's got to steam cook it. And it takes about 8 to 9 minutes to get these hard boiled, easy. Okay, the other thing I would usually do, I would take a whole head of cauliflower, put that on top, steam with water underneath, push the steam button, and then I have perfectly, very moistly cooked cauliflower to make cauliflower mashed potatoes. And it's really delicious. I do have kind of a recipe somewhere in my post. If you scroll way down, it looks like I made mashed potatoes and I made it with cauliflower. Okay, so that's one thing that usually comes standard. A couple other things. It's a steamer that you can put as well on the top rim. You can buy a bundt cake. People bake with their Instant Pot. I actually made turkey bundt loaf. Turkey meat bundt loaf. And I put ground turkey in here. And it cooked it down, and I ended up making it into a birthday cake for my dog. And so it was made of ground turkey, eggs, and then I frosted it with pumpkin. I know, I'm one of those people. Hello, Caleb. Good to see you. So this is fun because you can actually bake in your Instant Pot. You would probably want to use this, and sometimes you have to put a little bit of water because it's like steam cooking. Another thing that I've done. So these are springform pans, and you can see that they're kind of a certain size. I've actually made cheesecake in my Instant Pot, and I've done cheesecake with monk fruit as the sweetener, and you couldn't even tell the difference. Okay, so then it's a healthy dessert. And if you make cheesecake from scratch in your oven, it's sometimes tricky because it can dry out. And with Instant Pot cheesecake, the reviews say that it's, well, I felt like it was, and most of the reviews say that it's very moisture, like it's like a moisturized, rich, not dry cheesecake. So it turns out really well. And again, you're not watching it. You would do the same thing. You would have, and then there's these fun little silicone things that you can put on top. And then you lower it in, and then you would have to look up the directions of how long it takes and the settings to make the cheesecake, okay? And if that's not enough, there are other fun gadgets that Amazon, you can look those up, but you can see people steam cook with it. They make their eggs. There's that springform pan. And then one thing that I need to buy is, you can see the little green silicone thing at the very bottom. You can make sous vide egg bites. Like instead of going out and buying them, you can just make them in the silicone molds. And that's the other thing that tastes really good. People swear by sous vide. Even though you can buy the sous vide makers, but you can also Instant Pot cook them, and they do a really good job. So you can see it's kind of some fun gadgets with your Instant Pot. Okay, I think I covered mostly everything. I cook meats, I boil eggs, we steam veggies. Oh, and I make bone broth. That I actually have a video on my Instagram. Way down. It's a video and a post. But my YouTube channel actually show you how I make bone broth from a Whole Foods chicken carcass. Because you buy it at like the rotisserie chicken in the, like at Whole Foods, which I highly recommend buying that chicken over like a Costco or like a Cub Foods. I know these are local, but they're just injected with that salt solution, right? And they're not good ingredients. So I will pay an extra $2. It's really not a lot more money to buy the rotisserie chicken at Whole Foods, and we'll eat the meat, and then there's always meat left over, and I take that whole thing, the whole carcass, and I throw it all into the pot, and I fill it with liquid, put apple cider vinegar, onions, carrots, celery, if I want, and then I put it for 2 hours on high pressure, and it makes perfect bone broth. It's like magical, okay? And you know it's perfect when you can break the bone. You know that all the minerals and the beneficial things got taken out of the bone and into the soup, okay? And then we make wonderful soups with it. In fact, we just drink the broth because it's so good. You can ask my kids. And so those are probably the biggest things that we have done with our Instant Pot. A lot of people are scared by it, but I just honestly, if you want to start with chicken, frozen chicken or frozen ground beef, throw it in and you push some buttons. Can't go wrong. If it didn't cook again, do it again. You know, you might have to play around with it, or you can practice with the rice button. So don't be intimidated and have fun with it. Now I'm gonna enjoy some tabbouleh salad. Thank you guys.